All right. Hey, everybody, what is happening? It's your girl, Michelle and Trey Hollis, and we are here with Nancy Casas, and we are having a five-star conversation here in the Sun City. Super duper excited to introduce to you all, to people that follow me, that listen to the things that I share online and in the community. If you do follow me, you know how important it is to me, how important community is to me. And it is super, even that much more important to this coming election season on the local level, on the state level, on the national level, for us to be engaged on a deeper level than just being a keyboard warrior. You know what I'm saying? We got to get out here and we got to meet and learn about the people who are running for office in our cities, in our states, in our nation. Okay, so it is actually my honor to be here today with Nancy Casas because she is running for district attorney. And I'm excited about our conversation, Nancy. First of all, I want to say hello.
Hi there, Michelle. My name's Nancy Casas. Thank you for inviting me today.
I'm so happy to have you, and it's an honor. It's an honor to get to, I got to meet you out in the community at a networking event, and you are a person who cares about people from the jump. I mean, you just came up, started a conversation, and that spoke to me because that's kind of what I think we all should be looking for in elected officials, people that are in the community meeting people. I think that's very important. So it's my honor to have you introduce yourself and let people know a little bit more about you. So what I know, because I did do my research a little bit, I know that you grew up here in El Paso, Texas, and we actually went to the same high school. We went to Hanks.
Yes. Oh, wow.
You didn't know that yet.
I did not know that.
That's
yeah,
a
there
surprise.
you go. I'm probably a little older than you.
We might be about the same age.
Little
I'm
bit.
41.
I'm 48.
Okay, so
I'm telling everybody.
That's
It's okay.
Yeah, we're
it's
proud.
Yes, but I am. I'm born and raised here in El Paso, and I went to Terra del Sol, I went to Desert View, and then I went to Hanks, class of 92.
Okay, awesome. And I was 99, so go Knights.
Yay!
Awesome. And, one thing I always wonder, because, and another reason that I'm having this conversation with you outward facing is because I know that there's a lot of people out here who are not involved with politics as they should be, and with understanding what these different roles, these different positions, elected official positions
Correct.
really mean. And I'm one of those people, so that's why I'm excited to bring this conversation forward.
No, absolutely. I think it's true. I think a lot of people vote without knowing the candidates, so I really appreciate you inviting me to learn about who I am and what I stand for. And once you understand my experience, you understand my heart, you understand what I want from this community, right? Because this is my community, your community, this is our community. And so once you know that, then I think you'll understand why I want to run for office and why I want you to support me.
Thank you for saying that. Did you know from back then in the Hanks High School days that you wanted to be an attorney first and foremost?
No. No. So I graduated from Hanks, and then I went to community college for a year.
Okay.
I went there for a year, and then I went to UTEP.
Okay.
And in UTEP, I took political science classes, and I took history, right? That's what I majored and minored in. And my classes at UTEP helped me understand who I was in the context of being here in the United States. My parents are immigrants. They came from Chihuahua, Mexico. And so when they came to the United States to, raise a family, to be successful, to try and educate us and become community members. But I didn't quite understand all the issues that we have because that wasn't the context I grew up with. The issues of being born in the United States and all the context that it came with, right? Being a Chicana in El Paso and kind of the politics and economic issues that we have, I didn't quite understand them. So UTEP, I took a lot of classes, and I have a lot of really good professors that gave me a really good understanding of who I was
great.
Here in El Paso, who I was in the economics, who I was as a woman, as a Chicana, as a bicultural community, because that also is different. You know, growing up in El Paso, we very much grow up with Juarez and El Paso together.
That's right.
And so UTEP taught me a lot of who I was in the world.
That's amazing.
And then when I graduated, I was like, or I was about to graduate, I was like, well, what's next? Like, you know, what do I do next? I went and I talked to a teacher, and I sat down with this professor, greatly, you know, gave me some time and just said, okay, these are your options. And I said, okay. And one of the options was go get a job in the legal field and maybe you'll like the law. And I said, well, let me try. She gave me 2 people to contact, and I did, and I was able to get 2 jobs. One of them is an intern, so I was interning them.
Okay.
And then one of them, I actually got a job as a paralegal working for legal aid.
Okay. And that was here in El Paso.
That was here in El Paso.
So that is powerful. I just wanted to pause on
Yes.
that. Like, that is powerful. The fact that you went and sought, you know, guidance
Yes.
from our own community members.
Yes, absolutely.
And they guided you in that
and
way.
that they guided me and they gave me advice.
And connections.
And so, absolutely. And that's important, right?
Yes.
You learn connections. And so once I sat down and I got that job at Legal Aid, I realized I really like helping our community. I liked helping people who maybe were low on resources or low in economics, or they were unable to get out of situations that they were in because of what they were, right? I represented women of domestic violence. I represented people who bought consumer products that were not good, but because they couldn't afford, or maybe they didn't have the right credit scores. And so anyway, so I ended up helping these people that I really liked, but I felt limited because I wanted to do more and I couldn't because I wasn't an attorney, right? I didn't have that piece of paper that allowed me to do more.
Yeah.
And
So at this point, you were a legal assistant,
right? Paralegal.
a paralegal.
Right,
Okay.
I was a paralegal.
Okay.
So so after that, I was like, you know what? I want to go to law school because I want to come back and help my community. I want to come back. I had some great examples of attorneys who did a wonderful job. And there were some attorneys that maybe weren't serving the community as much as they should.
Okay.
And so I went to law school to come back to help my community. And that's exactly what I did. I went to law school. I went to University of Iowa.
Okay.
And then I came back and worked for Legal Aid to do exactly what I said I was going to do.
Wow. Like, that is important. I mean,
Yes.
being of your word and coming back, going with intention,
Yes,
and then coming back to be of service to the community.
absolutely.
That's
and
powerful.
so when I came back, I was exactly what I wanted to do. I was fortunate that they were able to hire me. They gave me the opportunity to work there. And so I worked there for almost 2 years. And I did exactly what I wanted to do, was help the people. And then after that, I moved to the district attorney's office, and I continued helping the community.
Okay, and that's when you were an assistant district attorney? Is that when that happened?
Correct. So
Okay.
I joined the district attorney's office under Jaime Esparza's administration,
Okay.
and he hired me as a district attorney. And so,
Can you, for the people of us who are just learning, because I just learned this about today years old, about 10, 10 minutes ago, but this is very important. I'm having this conversation for those, so people can really understand
Right.
how everything works. So you were under Jaime
Esparza.
Esparza's.
So,
Okay.
Right. So Jaime Esparza was the elected DA, right?
Okay.
So that's what I'm running for, is to be the elected DA.
Okay.
So when we say we're the assistant DA, is because the elected DA is the one person who's in charge of actually, it's the 34th Judicial District.
Okay.
It's El Paso, Culbertson, and Hudspeth County. So they're in charge of 3 counties
Okay.
of bringing forth prosecution.
Okay.
But in order for that one person to be able to do the job, you need a team, right?
Of course.
And so Mr. Esparza, hires attorneys, hires staff. And so when you're hired as an attorney to be on his team, it was an assistant district attorney.
Okay. That's
So
very
you have the
important.
elected DA, and then you have the assistant district attorneys. And so I was hired to be a part of his team, and as part of his team, I was the assistant district attorney.
That's fantastic. So when you run and you're elected for district attorney, you would have that same role.
Correct.
It would be now your turn to turn around and to pick the most upstanding attorneys in El Paso to serve and to work with you on your team. Is that correct?
Correct. So I would be the team leader. I would be the district attorney, and then I would be hiring people to be part of my team, and their titles would be assistant district attorneys.
Okay, awesome. That's so cool. What made you decide specifically to run for the elected district attorney position?
Okay. So I had worked at the district attorney's office for a span of 17 years, but a span of 19. I left the country for 2 years. So I had been at the DA's office, and then I left to be a prosecutor in the European Union in the country, in the rule of law in the country of Kosovo.
Okay.
And then after that, I was a trainer in the rule of law in Latin American countries.
Wow.
And so I traveled to Mexico, Panama, Peru, Guatemala, Honduras. And then I came back to the DA's office, and I spent there another 8 years. So that's why it's 17, but 19, yes.
I love that you said Mexico and then Panama, because my mom's from Panama, so that was a good, that's a kind of alignment there.
Yes,
what
so
made you leave to have that experience?
So when I had worked at the DA's office, I had already been an attorney for 10 years. And I felt like I had mastered my skills, right? I had been a litigator, a courtroom attorney. I handled docket, I did jury trials, I did grand jury. So I kind of felt like I had mastered my skill, and I wanted to grow and improve, and grow and improve in my career, and grow and improve in my own person.
That's right.
And so I was fortunate to find a job that kind of furthered my career.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was just kind of broadening my skills. And so all of that has worked out, because when I came back to work at the district attorney's office, when Mr. Esparza retired, there was a new election. And the new elected DA, which is Ivan Rosales, I was not retained by that administration.
Okay.
And so I had to look for another job. And I was very fortunate that the county attorney, Joanne Bernal, gave me an opportunity to continue working in this community, continue to be part of El Paso.
And this is a private practice?
No, the county attorney's
The county
office.
attorney, okay.
Which also does a wide variety of things, but one of them is prosecution. So I still continue prosecution. But one of their biggest duties that the county attorney does is that they provide legal assistance to all the county departments.
Okay.
And so that was something that I learned, because I was like, I didn't quite understand. So actually, I was able to work with Joanne in their general counsel unit. So I actually got to know what commissioner's court was, the importance of the agenda and posting for commissioner's court, how to look and review and prepare contracts, how to review and get ready for the bidding and the purchasing of items, all the administrative part of
kind of more the business side of the legal side,
and providing legal advice. So if somebody in the county department, so every county, the government itself is comprised of different departments. If they need legal assistance, they need questions answered, they would go to the county attorney. And so that's what the county attorney does. That's one of the big duties. But they also prosecute juvenile prosecution. They do protective orders. They do the CPS cases, the Adult Protective Services cases, and then they do a criminal unit, which is deceptive business, which is what I do now.
Okay.
So going back to one of the questions that you asked me is when I moved over to the county attorney's office, and I was watching what the last elected administration was happening, and that it was losing its integrity. It was losing its efficiency in the legal system, and that, the oath that you take of being fair and just, making sure that the administration of justice is efficient, and it was losing that. That's when I was like, I felt like my expertise, my experience, everything that I have grown can be used to be part of the district attorney's office. But this time I felt I wanted to be the DA. And so that's what led me to go back, because I felt like I'm needed. Like I can now go back and use everything, like not just what I mastered, but what I have grown and expanded can now go to be part of that elected official, of that leadership that is needed.
That's powerful. And that's so important. And I love that you've broken down, for me as a citizen who's learning about your experience and understanding how it works, that you're in that position to really to delegate to the right people, to bring on the right people to be of service to the community. Hearing that you've had so much experience in so many different areas gives me that peace of mind also, and to understand that.
Correct, because it's like, yes, I know how to try a case. I know how to go into court. And, I've had to do it now. So I had been out of the courts for a little while because when I came back to the DA's office, they had me in a more an administrative role. Okay. What I did is I was part of the unit that handled the cases that came from law enforcement into the district attorney's office.
Okay.
And so I made sure that those cases were properly handled, were properly investigated, and then were brought into the DA's office. So what started off with, they told me I was only going to be there 6 months. I ended up being there almost 8 years.
Okay.
And then I also niched into working with law enforcement and trying to make sure that what the DA's office needed with law enforcement, kind of worked between the law enforcement agencies to make sure that they knew and they understood the needs that that the DA's office needed when we were prosecuting cases. Mm-hmm. So I went and provided that information, and I did that for 8 years. And then now everything's like come together. And so it's like, so now it's like I can prosecute the cases. I know how to work with law enforcement. I know how to talk with victims. I know how to, the importance of talking with victim advocacy groups, right?
Okay,
to
wonderful.
Reach out and make sure that we have that communication.
Mm-hmm.
I also understand that it's a leadership role. It's making sure that I know the administrative portion of it, right?
That's right.
So, and that I learned, right? Because it's like, before it's like, well, what's commissioner's court? And it's learning what it is, the notice, the importance of it, all those things that we need to know. So it's all this broad experience that now I could bring to the table, so that the community, right? So all of us benefits to having a safe community. Absolutely.
Yes. Now, I know that for you, family is everything. I also know that community is everything because, as I talked about, I met you at a networking event. And I also joined you for the Stamp Out Hunger.
Correct.
And that was feeding the community through the mail service. That's where the post office gives brown bags to the homes, and then they fill it up on a certain day, and the postal workers will pick them up and bring them in, and you were there leading that charge, and that was great. And you weren't there by yourself, you were there with your family.
Correct. Yes, I love being a part of the community, and so I've always done a lot, not just recently. I mean, it's something I've been a board member since, I was looking at my resume, since like 2002. Mm-hmm. I've been a board member for the Boys and Girls Club, for Las Americas Immigrant Advocacy Center, for the Jewish Federation, for Rotary Club of El Paso. Mm-hmm. I've been a member now for, the Lions Club, for Rotary, for this, I'm a Salvation Army, the Boys and Girls Club. I think I already mentioned that one. I'm also a Texas Master Naturalist. And so in everything that I do.
Whoa, what's that? You got to break that down. The Texas Master Naturalist?
Yes.
Oh, what's that?
It's actually a really good organization that focuses on all the environment of El Paso.
Okay.
And so it's a class that you have to take. It's 16 weeks long, but they teach you about everything about the Trans-Pecos area.
Okay, I love that.
And so, yes, and so you learn about, things that maybe we should learn in high school.
Right.
But, for me, it's been a little bit since I've been to high school, so it's a really good refresher of geology.
That's
of
wonderful.
Of everything that we have here. And so I was a big hiker. Okay. I love to hike, and I would volunteer for the Texas Parks and Wildlife. Mm-hmm. And part of my volunteering is that I would lead hikes. But I wanted to lead them with more knowledge so that when people went up there and hiked, they came out loving the mountain.
That's right. And I'm glad you said that because I think that was one of the things we're supposed to do.
Anytime.
I would really love that. That's one of the things we talked about when we first.
I love hiking. And, recently I took a group out hiking. It's called Proyecto Mama. Okay. And they also were like, Nancy, one of these days. And I was like, put it on my calendar and let's do it. And so we went out there, and I took about 15 people hiking. Had never been hiking, because I think people are intimidated by our mountains. Maybe they're afraid. They don't know, right? If you don't know. You don't know how to get the trailheads or how to get there. So I sat down with them, and we did a hike, showed them. And then a month later, they decided to do it again. But because of my schedule, I wasn't able to join them.
Okay.
And they're like, no, Nancy, it's okay. With your knowledge, we were able to do it on our own. And that's exactly what I want to do. Exactly.
Yes.
Then after that, they went and did another hike, and they brought more people, and more people went out there, and they loved it, and now they want to do it. And that's what I want, right? Is to find that love of El Paso that we have. We have so many things that we really should admire and take care of. And our urban park is amazing, right? We have the largest urban park within a city, and most of us take for granted our mountains.
I don't know what you mean by that. Can you? I'm just keeping it real.
Absolutely.
Educate me.
Yes. So that means we have a state park within the city, and it's the largest urban park that we have. So at most cities or most places, you have to drive out in order for you to hike.
Oh.
And here it's located within the city. Like, we can go hiking, biking, right? I mean, you can even take an RV. I mean, I bet you people don't know that, but you can camp at the park.
Oh, no, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, you can park, you can camp out there. And so we have one of the biggest urban parks that we can take care of that's natural, that is part of our system, that we sometimes don't necessarily take advantage of. And so, yes.
That's amazing. Where exactly is that in El Paso? Can you let us know?
Well, it is the Tom Mays Park in the Franklin Mountains. So it's over Trans Mountain.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, wow, okay.
So,
I didn't
and
realize
you're right.
that.
Everything I do, I usually bring somebody with me. I always have family. I always have friends.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important. I mean, since I was young, I was always incorporating other people to do things. And so my family always knows, like, okay, where are we going now, Nancy? We're going to go do this. And since I was younger, I mean, I used to do a lot of the walks. And my younger cousins, I'm the oldest. On my mom's side of the family, I'm the oldest cousin of 20. I think there's 26 of us.
Okay.
And all of them, I would take them to go do something.
Yeah.
And also on my dad's side of the family, like the younger cousins who lived here in town, they would also go with me. So I'm like, we're going to do the, the American Heart Association walk, because it's important.
Yes.
We have to go do it. And so they were used to kind of me always doing different things.
Leading the charge.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's important too. I mean, because the reason that it really just blew me away and was very it really struck my heart to see your dad out there, really helping you. And
he was the volunteer of the year for the Salvation Army.
Was he really? Mm-hmm. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? Yeah. And that is so powerful, because I really do believe something I've learned the hard way in my personal life is that it starts at home. It really does. It starts at home, and it starts with your family. You can really tell a lot about a person. I mean, and this is, if you are blessed enough to have a family that is willing and that's open, I should say, but when you can influence your family, and when you can do these types of acts of service, first with your family, first in your family, and then with your family, it makes a big difference. So for you to say that, like, you led, that you are looked up to from your cousins, that really says a lot.
Yes. Yeah. I broke a lot of glass ceilings. I set a lot of examples. So they have all worked really hard. Every single one of them have graduated from college.
Wow.
The youngest one just finished graduating from college. So all of them are college educated.
That's powerful.
And they're all, they're all productive members of society. It's incredible to see where they're at now. And all of them are doing things, right? Like, one is doing their own bike ride. I'm a triathlete, so, I swim, bike, and run, and I hike. I don't know about running. It's more like jogging. but they all do something, and they're all continue to do it. Yes. And talking about promoting what is part of El Paso, I love the arts. I love
Yeah,
going
me
to
too.
plays. I love going to like the El Paso Playhouse. I love all of that. And I've taken all my younger cousins to it when they were little. And so the thing was always like, okay, you do something I want to do, and then I'll go do something you want to do. And that was kind of how that's kind of how we would do it. So I would have them do very grown-up things, right? And you have to sit down, you have to look nice, and don't move, don't fidget, right? And we're gonna watch this play.
Yes.
And then after that, we're probably gonna go to Peter Piper Pizza and let out some of that energy, right? And then I'll take you home.
That's the way to do it, man.
Then I'll take you home. But you know, now that that I see them as adults and they're talking, and it's like they're doing things that I helped. I know I inspired.
Yes.
Like watching them now, they're like, oh, we went and did this play. Or, you know, I went to do this play, and then afterwards I went to eat at Artavino's Desert Crossing or Artavino's Pizza. And I was like, that's what we used to do. He goes, I know, huh? Like,
and they don't even know almost. And that's so, we're touching on something so important, because the influence that we have to the people around us, and even in the community, or you never know who you're talking to that you're going to influence, even on, you know, as you're just passing by someone. But those are subconscious gems that you really dropped in their mind to understand and know themselves and what was important.
No, absolutely. And so I'm very aware that where I'm at is important. I mean, whatever my next goal is, but up to here, I know it's been important. And so I've always tried to make sure that I help and not even inspire, because I know that by doing it, people can do it, right? I'm always like, if I could do it, you could do it, right? It's, you know, I'm like, I'm right alongside you. I'm not asking you to do anything that I haven't done I haven't tried. And we could do it together. And whatever you need, I will help you. You need me to hold your hand, I encourage you. You need whatever you need me to do, I will do it, because I've done it. And I've done it because people have helped me in some way, form, or shape or fashion, right? So I could do that for you as well. And this is how we move forward. And so another example that I have, besides my cousins, right, I had a intern who was in his sophomore year of university at Texas Tech. And he came one summer and said, you know, I'm thinking of being an attorney. So all summer long, I had him working. And I was like, look, it's not easy. Like, it's not just like on the TV where you're in the courtroom. Like, that's the glamour, right? That's the fun part.
The drama,
yes, you know. That's the fun part. I go, but you know what? It's a lot of work getting there. And it's
Thanks for saying that.
It's doing
That's
this.
important.
Yes, and so I sat down with him, and I was like, look, that means we're working evenings, we're working weekends, we're working holidays, because we have to get ready. We have to meet with people. And a lot of the back stuff, you know, they're just the courtroom is one portion of everything that we do. So
that's everything. That transcends life and business, doesn't it? There's there's what everybody sees, and then
there's the other stuff, right? Like, you have to sit down and respond to emails, and you come back from court and you have 50 emails, and guess what? You still need to respond to them. You still have to respond to phone calls. You still all this. So after the summer, I sat down with him and I said, okay, this is everything that we're gonna do. And so at the end, he was like, I want to be an attorney. And I was like, no.
You were trying to dissuade him.
Well, he wanted to be a pharmacist. I'm like, go be a pharmacist instead. And he's like, no, I want to go be an attorney. And I said, okay, I will be. And I helped him. I was his letter of recommendation, you know, for law school. I followed him through, and he actually passed the bar exam, and he applied to work at the district attorney's office under Jaime Esparza, and he became my colleague.
Is that right? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he is
amazing.
He is my colleague now. So he is one of three. I have another intern right now who is at Columbia University, and she's in her second year. So next one more year, and then she'll be done, and she'll also be my colleague. Wow. So yes, absolutely.
That's fantastic. I think in the last few minutes, what I'd really like to touch on is absolutely thinking along the same lines here. What improvements or vision do you have for El Paso if you are elected as a DA? What kind of things do you want to see happen?
Absolutely. We need to bring back stability and accountability to the DA's office. We need to make sure we have a safe community. And part of that, it's a lot of moving parts that we have to work together in order for the community in order for the community to work together, right? I mean, you have law enforcement, you have community advocacy groups, You have the DA's office. You also have moving parts within the DA's office. And so we have had a lot of discommunication, right? So we need to sit down and work together so that we can improve and move forward, so that we can make sure that we bring justice. There's been a lot of cases that have not moved as quickly through the system as it needs to be. And one, it's a disservice to the victims who are having to go through this long process, but also for the accused, the defendant, for the person who's being accused, where they have nothing to resolve. And many people who are accused, who are defendants, you know, they want to go forward to get a license. Well, you can't, because they need to know what's going on with the case. And they're like, well, I don't know. And that's unfortunate in all areas, right? In all areas, for the victims, for the defendants, and for the system itself. And we have to be able to hold people accountable in a timely and efficient manner for us to be fair and just.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that yeah, the systemic change or systemic improvement.
Right. It's coming back and putting some pieces back together, but then improving on it. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, how can people follow you? How can they follow your journey? Are you needing volunteers right now? What would you like to say to the people directly so that they can, first of all, know how to find you,
Yes.
how to connect with you, and how they can join the campaign?
Oh, wonderful. So you can find me on Facebook. It's Nancy Casas 4DA. I'm also on Instagram, nancy.casas.12. I also have a website, so www.nancycasas4forda.com. And you can, on the website, there's an area where it says how to become involved. Get involved. Sign up. I really need volunteers. I need places to go put signs up. I need people to come block walk with me and to phone bank and get to know me, because the more you get to know me, then I think you understand why I'm running for DA and why you should support me. And so all those places you can find and locate me. And on the website, there's also, if you want to message me, on Facebook, if you want to message me as well, you're more than happy to. But yes, come support me. I really need everyone's support.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking time to speak to me, speak to the people of El Paso and whoever gets to listen to this recording. It's so important that we know who is going to be in these leadership positions and that we elect them and we use our voice, because our voice is our power. Our voice is truly our power. So thank you for coming on with this 5-star conversation and using your voice today, Nancy.
Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it. And yes, you're right. We have to vote. We have to use our voice, and an educated voice, right? So now that you've taken time to get to know me further. And I have more information on my website and on my Facebook, so you can get to know me further. But you're absolutely right. That is how we become an educated community.
Thank you so much. Well, this has been a 5-star conversation in the Sun City with Michelle and Trey Hollis, and featuring Nancy Casas today. Have a good day and keep rising and shining.
Bye. Thank you.